Did you know that the average person makes around 35,000 decisions? From choosing what to wear to deciding what to focus on at work, our brains are constantly flooded with choices. The sheer volume of decisions we face leads to what psychologists call decision fatigue, where our ability to make smart choices diminishes as the day goes on. Greg McKeown, in his book Essentialism, The Disciplined Pursuit of Less, explains that most of us are spread too thin because we try to do too much. We say yes to too many things, clutter our schedules, and prioritize urgent over important. The result? We end up exhausted, overcommitted, and feeling like we're never making real progress. But what if there was a better way? What if instead of doing more, you could achieve more by doing less? Essentialism isn't just about productivity. It's about designing a life that focuses only on what truly matters. It's about eliminating distractions, setting clear priorities, and making deliberate choices. Instead of reacting to everything, you take control of your time and energy. In this audiobook, I'll take you step by step through how I've personally been applying essentialism in my life and how you can too. We'll break down key insights, challenges, and practical ways to simplify your daily routine for greater success. You'll learn how to cut out non-essential tasks, how to say no confidently, and how to reclaim your time and energy for the things that truly move the needle in your personal and professional life. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of how to make better decisions, prioritize effectively, and create a life that is more meaningful and less stressful. So if you've ever felt like you're constantly busy but never making real progress, this video is for you. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Your engagement helps us reach more people who need to hear this message. Chapter 1. Essence. What is the core mindset of an essentialist? Part 1. The invincible power of choice. Have you ever felt like life is just happening to you? Like you're being pulled in 100 different directions and don't even get a say in what you do? Well, here's the truth. You always have a choice. Many of us feel stuck because we assume we have to do things. I have to go to that meeting. I have to say yes to this project. Or I have to help with this event. But Greg McKeown reminds us that we don't have to do anything. We choose to. Think of it this way. Imagine you're at an all-you-can-eat buffet. Just because there are 50 dishes doesn't mean you have to eat all of them. You get to choose what goes on your plate. Life works the same way. You get to decide where you invest your time, energy, and resources. A great example of this is Warren Buffett's 25-to-5 rule. He suggests making a list of the 25 most important things you want to achieve. Then, circle the top 5. Here's the kicker. The remaining 20? Avoid them at all costs because they are distractions. They seem important, but they keep you from focusing on what truly matters. So next time you feel like you have to do something, pause and ask yourself, is this truly essential? Part 2. Discern. The unimportance of practically everything. Most of what we do doesn't actually matter. That might sound harsh, but think about your average workday. How much of it is spent on truly important tasks, and how much is wasted on emails, unnecessary meetings, or scrolling through social media? Greg McKeown calls this the trivial many versus the vital few. Most things are trivial, but a few things create the biggest impact. One powerful way to apply this is the 90% rule. When making a decision, rate the opportunity on a scale of 1-100. If it's not a 90 or higher, say no. If it's just pretty good, then it's actually a distraction from what's truly great. A real-life example? Steve Jobs. When he returned to Apple in 1997, he cut 70% of Apple's products to focus on just a handful. That's how the iMac, iPod, and iPhone became revolutionary products. He focused on what was truly essential. Try this. Write down everything you're committed to. Then, cross off anything that isn't a 90 or higher. You'll be surprised at how much time and energy you free up. Part 3. Trade-off. Which problem do I want? Saying yes to something means saying no to something else. We don't like to admit it, but everything comes at a cost. If you say yes to working late, you're saying no to family time. If you say yes to every request, you're saying no to your own priorities. Instead of asking, "Can I do this?" ask, "What am I giving up by saying yes?" A great example is professional athletes. They don't train in every sport, they specialize. A sprinter doesn't also try to become a weightlifter. They choose their trade-off to become great at one thing. Trade-offs apply everywhere. Imagine you're shopping for a new phone. You can get the one with the best camera, the longest battery life, or the biggest screen. But you can't have all three. You have to choose what matters most. Essentialists embrace this reality. They don't try to do it all. They deliberately choose the things that will make the biggest impact and let go of the rest. So next time you're about to commit to something, ask yourself, what trade-off am I making? Is this truly worth it? Chapter 2. Explore. How can we discern the trivial many from the vital few? Part 1. Escape. The perks of being unavailable. Have you ever noticed that the best ideas come to you when you're in the shower, taking a walk, or lying in bed? That's because your brain needs space to think. Yet, in today's always connected world, we rarely give ourselves that space. Greg McKeown emphasizes the importance of escaping the noise, creating deliberate time for deep thinking. This doesn't mean going off the grid for weeks. It simply means setting boundaries to protect your most valuable asset, your mind. How to apply this? Schedule think time. Just like meetings, block out time to reflect on priorities. Go device-free for an hour a day. Disconnect from screens and let your mind wander. Take more walks. Many great thinkers, like Steve Jobs, were known for walking meetings. Part 2. See what really matters. We tend to focus on what's urgent rather than what's important. Emails, notifications, and last-minute requests hijack our day. But essentialists train themselves to see beyond the noise and focus on what truly moves the needle. A practical exercise. Write down everything you did today. Circle the top 3 tasks that created real impact. Look for patterns. What truly mattered? Prioritize doing more of those things. Part 3. Play. Embrace the wisdom of your inner child. Ever notice how kids learn best? Through play. But as adults, we often dismiss fun as unproductive. Yet research shows that creativity flourishes when we allow ourselves time to experiment and play. Ways to incorporate play. Try a new hobby. Something unrelated to work, like painting or puzzles. Give yourself permission to daydream. Let your mind wander without guilt. Gamify your work. Turn tasks into challenges to make them enjoyable. Google encourages employees to spend 20% of their time on passion projects. This led to the creation of Gmail and Google Maps. Part 4. Sleep. Protect the asset. Sleep isn't just about resting. It's about improving decision-making, creativity, and overall effectiveness. McKeown calls it protecting the asset. Studies show that sleep-deprived people function similarly to being drunk. A lack of sleep reduces problem-solving abilities by 60%. Elite athletes prioritize sleep because it directly impacts performance. How to prioritize sleep. Set a non-negotiable bedtime. Stick to it, just like an important meeting. Create a wind-down routine. Avoid screens and read before bed. Track your sleep. Use a sleep app to monitor and improve habits. Part 5. Select the power of extreme criteria. One of the biggest lessons in essentialism is learning to say no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great ones. Use the 90% rule. If an opportunity isn't a 90, 100 or higher, say no. Anything below 90 is a distraction. When a highly successful entrepreneur was asked why he didn't take on more projects, he said, "If it's not a hell yes, it's a no." Chapter 3. Eliminate. How can we cut out the trivial many? Part 1. Clarify. One decision that makes 1,000. Have you ever spent 10 minutes trying to decide what to wear, only to end up grabbing your usual outfit anyway? This tiny decision fatigue moment happens on a larger scale in our lives. The solution? Clarify your priorities so you don't waste energy on unimportant decisions. Think about Steve Jobs. He wore the same black turtleneck every day. Why? Because he eliminated a trivial decision so he could focus on what really mattered. He didn't want to waste time deciding what to wear. How to apply this? Define your core priorities. Create decision rules. If it's not a clear yes, it's a no. Minimize unnecessary decisions. Automate or delegate tasks where possible. Part 2. Dare. The power of a graceful no. Saying no is one of the hardest things to do, especially when we want to be helpful. But every time we say yes to something trivial, we say no to something important. Learning to say no is a superpower. A simple formula for saying no. Be honest. I'd love to, but I have other priorities right now. Offer an alternative. I can't do this, but maybe I can help in another way. Stay firm. No need to over-explain or feel guilty. Warren Buffett once said, "The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything." Part 3. Uncommit. Win big by cutting your losses. Ever stayed in a job, relationship, or project longer than you should have just because you already invested time in it? That's called the sunk cost fallacy. We don't want to abandon something because we've already put effort into it, even if it's no longer serving us. Ask yourself, if I wasn't already committed, would I still say yes? Give yourself permission to quit. Not everything has to be finished. Part 4. Edit. The invisible art. Great writers don't just write, they edit. They remove unnecessary words to make their message stronger. Life works the same way. Editing your life. Look at your schedule. Cut out commitments that don't align with your priorities. Declutter your physical space. Less mess equals less stress. Refine your goals. Focus only on what excites you. Think of it like cleaning out your closet. Only keep what fits and makes you feel great. Part 5. Limit. The freedom of setting boundaries. Many people think of boundaries as restrictions. In reality, they're freedom. Setting limits allows you to control your time, energy, and focus. Examples of healthy boundaries. Work hours. No emails after 7 p.m. Social commitments. Only say yes if it aligns with your priorities. Personal space. A study showed that employees who set clear work boundaries were 25% more productive and reported higher job satisfaction. Less burnout, more impact. Chapter 4. Execute. How can we make doing the essential effortless? Part 1. Buffer. The unfair advantage. Imagine you're running late to an important meeting because of unexpected traffic. You're frustrated, anxious, and unprepared. What if you had left 10 minutes earlier? That small buffer would have saved you the stress. Essentialists always build buffer time to ensure they are prepared for the unexpected. How to apply buffering in daily life. Schedule extra time between meetings. Give yourself breathing room to think. Plan projects with a margin. If you think it'll take a week, plan for 10 days. Save for rainy days. Financial buffers reduce stress when emergencies happen. Part 2. Subtract. Bring forth more by removing obstacles. Have you ever tried running a race while carrying a heavy backpack? The extra weight slows you down. The same thing happens in life. When we try to juggle too many things, our effectiveness decreases. Steps to subtract for greater impact. Identify friction points. What is slowing you down in your work and life? Remove one non-essential task. Every week, cut out commitments that drain you. Declutter your environment. A clean space leads to a clear mind. A restaurant owner streamlined his menu, reducing options from 50 to 10. Customers had fewer choices, the kitchen operated faster, and profits increased. Part 3. Progress. The power of small wins. Many people give up on their goals because they aim for perfection. But progress happens in small, consistent steps. Essentialists focus on steady improvement rather than overwhelming changes. The 1% rule. Improve by just 1% every day. Small changes add up over time. Celebrate small wins. Motivation increases when you acknowledge progress. Focus on habits over outcomes. The journey matters more than the destination. Part 4. Flow. The genius of routine. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to glide through life effortlessly? They have structured routines that remove unnecessary decision-making. By automating repetitive tasks, they free up mental energy for what truly matters. How to create a flow state. Morning rituals. Start your day with intention. Meditation, journaling, or exercise. Theme your days. Assign different tasks to specific days, e.g., Mondays for meetings, Tuesdays for creative work. Batch. Similar tasks. Answer emails once or twice a day instead of constantly checking. Barack Obama and Mark Zuckerberg wear the same outfits daily to avoid decision fatigue. Part 5. Focus. What's important now? Distractions are everywhere. Emails, notifications, social media, and requests from others pull us in 100 directions. Essentialists combat this by constantly asking, what's the most important thing I should be doing right now? The 5-minute rule. If a task takes less than 5 minutes, do it immediately. If it takes longer, schedule a dedicated time for it. Avoid multitasking. Work on one priority at a time. A study showed that multitasking reduces productivity by 40%. Focusing on one task at a time is the key to efficiency. Conclusion. To summarize, essentialism isn't just a concept. It's a lifestyle. When we strip away the non-essential and focus only on what truly matters, we create space for meaningful work, deeper relationships, and greater fulfillment. Throughout this video, we've covered how to identify what's truly important, how to eliminate distractions, and how to make execution effortless. But now the question is, how do you take these lessons and apply them to your own life? Start by taking an honest look at how you spend your time and energy. Are you constantly overwhelmed? Do you feel like you're moving in too many directions at once? If so, this is your chance to reset. Essentialism is not about doing more, it's about doing better. The biggest mistake people make is thinking they need to overhaul their lives overnight. Instead, start with small, deliberate steps. Review your commitments. Identify where your time is going and eliminate obligations that don't align with your priorities. Practice saying no. Every yes is a trade-off. Choose wisely. Schedule deep work. Protect blocks of time for your most meaningful work and eliminate distractions. Declutter your environment. A simple, organized space helps reinforce a clear, focused mind. Many people believe that success comes from taking on more, but true success comes from choosing the right things to focus on. High achievers don't try to do everything. They focus intensely on the most impactful actions. Staying on the path of essentialism requires discipline. It's easy to slip back into old habits of overcommitment. That's why regular reflection is key. Set time each week to evaluate your priorities. Are you focusing on what truly matters? Keep a journal. Writing down your daily or weekly wins helps reinforce the essentialist mindset. Surround yourself with like-minded people. If you're constantly around people who overcommit and live in chaos, it's harder to stay focused. One of the hardest but most freeing aspects of essentialism is learning to let go. Letting go of guilt, letting go of unnecessary commitments, and letting go of the fear of missing out, FOMO. Every time you say no to something trivial, you're creating space for something valuable. Think of essentialism like gardening. If you want a plant to thrive, you need to remove the weeds. The weeds may seem harmless at first, but they steal nutrients, sunlight, and space. Your time and energy work the same way. Cutting out the unnecessary allows you to flourish. Essentialism is not a one-time fix. It's a lifelong journey. The best way to begin is by taking one small step today. What's one thing you can eliminate from your schedule right now? What's one decision you can make that will simplify your life? If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Tell us, what's one area of your life where you plan to apply essentialism? Remember, less is more. Choose wisely.